I'm going to call the meeting of the Utility Service Board Finance Subcommittee to order. We are on the agenda today are the discussion of the 2018 and the 2019 interdepartmental memos.
That's correct.
And I'm going to turn it over to you, my dear.
Thank you. You should have two packets. One is for the 2018 interdepartmental memo agreement, and one is for the 2019. And they should also be accompanied by the financial breakdowns. I also have
I
put.
did not get.
That either. Oh,
All I got was the memo.
sorry. It should have been in the Dropbox. Can you go make photocopies of that?
Yes.
She's going to make some photocopies for us.
Thank you.
It should have been sent. It's all
I don't go to
written in
Dropbox.
here.
I just go to the what's on the. Usually they're both on the attachments.
The link.
Okay.
So.
And then will you pass this down? And then one of the, that was not in Dropbox, I just made this as an informational sheet. It's a year-by-year breakdown, so you can see the percent change from year to year in the amount. So for the 18 memo, we had been here about a year ago with the 18 interdepartmental agreement, and the finance subcommittee had asked for us to go back and do a time study to make sure that the percentage breakdown for other departments was still correct, because it had been a while. And I have Jeff McMillan here from the controller's office. He's the deputy controller, who did perform that time study for 18, and then we carried those numbers over for 19 because there wasn't a big difference between the 2 years. I don't know if do you have any?
Yeah, we did a time study and asked the departments how much time do their staff spend on CBU issues and stuff, and they reported back to us. We also, we're also has the how much CBU spends on water.
That's correct.
Sanitation and the
Other
24-hour
services.
call
Yeah.
out.
So we did a similar time study in-house for the amount of time that we are spending on sanitation billing. So there's a breakdown in there. You should have received an entire workbook that has everything broken out in detail, which is summarized by the sheet that Latrina is going to bring back. And I think it was about $250,000 for 18 and a little bit less as we got our workflow for sanitation billing more refined for 19. Thank you so much. So let's see. So you can see in Exhibit A the breakdown of all the payable in lieu taxes. And then under general services is where you'll see where that time study was performed. And at the bottom of that, you can see we have a chargeback for control. Those are our control operators that are on 24/7. They also service street department and animal control. So I think we split 50-50 with the city for those expenses. And then under sanitation billing, that's part of Rance's time, customer service, and the billing expenses. So you can see there that we did recover some money there. And that carries over to Exhibit A for 2019 as well. But I'll give you a minute to look over the 2018 first, and then I'm available for any questions that you might have.
So, really quickly, just a general question. In general services, what is ESD?
Again, sustainable
Development.
Development, yeah.
So really, that was the only area that we were given a lower rate for.
Right.
Everything else remained constant.
Right.
I think legal maybe went up a little.
Legal probably went up a little bit. And I apologize, I don't have the 2017 numbers in front of me to compare them to.
Well, legal's percentages stayed the same.
Right, but their total budget went
Their
up.
total budget went up.
And we
Right.
pay a portion of that, exactly.
Okay.
And in 18, we knew it was coming. There was an issue with risk management on workman's comp, we knew that that was going to go up. Apparently, there was a workman's comp bill that we hadn't been getting charged. And so we met with the controller and the deputy mayor and risk, and that then became part of the 2018, 418. They didn't charge back.
If anyone has questions, just shout them out. Don't wait on me to call on you as you're looking through the numbers. You said on the control 24/7 by CBU, I thought you said it says 100%.
Yes. That was how he entered it into the spreadsheet. It is 50% of the expense.
Okay.
I think he just did negative 100% because that was the number I gave him,
Okay.
so that it would deduct off the spreadsheet. Yeah, next time we'll do it 50% at the total amount to make it clearer. And that's the same with the sanitation. Instead of putting every
Right.
single line item in, he just put the total.
So all in all, and again, we're always doing this in arrears, as I remember.
Correct.
As I recall, we're really paying for all the services that were done in
Right.
2019, right? Because we're in 2020.
Yes, that's correct. This is 18, so that would have been the 17 services.
Oh, okay, so this was the 17 services. The 19 is actually 18 services.
Right?
Okay,
Or do we just do it after the year?
We just did that after the year.
We just did it after the year. So these are actual 18 numbers
For 18 services.
for 18 services.
okay.
So when we do them in the same year as the interlocal, then we'll estimate what we think it's gonna, based on what the budget is, and then go back in the next year, and that's where you'll see sometimes a adjustment for the previous year. If that makes sense. So in 18, we went back and looked at what we had been charged in 17, and there was an adjustment there.
And then we won't actually see the 19 one until the end of 2020?
19's here.
Yeah,
I'm-
so it's the payable 2019, it's the second sheet. So these are actually the numbers for last year. These are the numbers for 2018.
Okay,
And this, I sort of had the impression that the numbers we're looking at for 2019, we're on schedule to be looking at those now.
That's
because
correct.
At the end of the year, then the beginning of the next year is when we look back at all of these numbers, is that correct?
No, we
I'm-
usually do them in the same year.
Yeah,
Since
okay.
I've been here, they've always been late.
Uh-huh, okay.
Because I started.
even before you were here,
Yeah.
they were late.
Yeah. And that's where we go.
That's why it gets confusing.
It
I'm like,
does. And that's why we go back in the next year and we do any adjustments for the previous year.
Okay.
To make sure that what we had estimated ended up being correct.
Okay, so we are on schedule for doing that adjustment thing for 2019.
Yes,
that-
we haven't
yeah.
closed out 19 yet, so we
Right,
don't know
right.
what it is yet.
Okay, so it's the 2018 numbers that we're behind on?
Right,
Right?
that's
Okay,
correct.
that's what I was thinking.
So the percentages that are here that get charged, do they come out of the ether?
They are down to the department heads to figure out how much of their staff work on big projects for employees on an ongoing basis. And it just depends if they do it by time or by project or by legislation, or a number of.
So I'm just picking one at random. The common council is like over 7%.
I think Dan used the number of resolutions and ordinances that went towards utilities divided by the total number of resolutions and ordinances.
We were in front of council a number of times last year. We had 2 rate cases. I don't know if they use the budget against us, but
I mean, I just wanted, having sat on the council for 8 years, if you asked me what percentage of the time, it would have been a lot less than 7%. So I wondered whether included in that was the presence of a common council member at our utility service board meetings, because that might make more sense because they're here. But the resolutions were,
I think you did by resolutions and ordinances. So the legislation that went in front of the people did it that way.
yeah, all right. I trust that they're in the ballpark.
So, and are there any other questions from you folks?
Just a comment saying I'm glad there was a time study done just to take, kind of update and take a look at that. So thank you for doing that.
So in terms of what else you need from this committee, do we need to pass anything? Do we need?
I think you make a recommendation, right?
Make recommendations to the board for approval or not approval.
Approval of both of these, or just approval of the?
Separately.
Approve them separately, but both of them.
Yes, but we have to approve both the
Yes.
18 and the 19.
That's correct.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then if they're so similar.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about 19, if there's anything in there,
It's,
Yes, I could ask Chris maybe. Is this within the ballpark of what we would expect?
Within the ballpark of what we would expect.
Yes. Well, this is,
I'm going to guess
this is a chunk of money,
it is a chunk of money.
so I want to know, is this a reasonable chunk of money in your opinion?
Well, it's in line with all of the interdepartmental agreements that have gone before it.
Right. So if there were,
Not greatly skewed one way or the other.
so if there's been an error, it's just gone forward.
We just keep
With time.
in that error. Yeah, no, it's,
no, we fix
I
those.
think it's a commonly recognized method of balancing the accounts between
Yeah.
usage of utilities and city services. I think it's a fair representation. As far as whether there are errors, the cost, that cost of time analysis should have cost something. And I know there were some areas where there was some pushback by utilities on a couple of issues
Okay.
that they got settled with the city.
Okay, that's good. It's good to know that it's not just,
There's some time spent looking at these issues.
And the time study arose because the board asked for it last year when they didn't take this up.
Yeah.
So whether the analysis that goes into determining the percentages is accurate or there could be a better way to do that, I think you just pointed one out as a possibility of considering whether council really does use 7% of its time on utility issues. I don't know. That analysis you could ask for a deeper investigation of that. Maybe not this time, but going forward.
I assume if there are errors, they're reasonably random errors, so.
I don't think anything's necessarily sinister in
No.
the numbers that you see there.
well, I think, again, when you look at the breakdown this way by year, and looking at the percentage, just looking at the percentages at the various, breaks that we have, one of the areas that we have very little control over is the increase in health insurance costs. And that has to be,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no bones about it. We have to pay for that, and, everyone's seeing those, is suffering from that.
As well as risk management. Mm-hmm. Those insurance costs are high as well,
Yeah.
and go up every year.
Exactly. So even if we did maintain or, the same level of what we're doing internally, we have zero control.
Right.
I mean, other than renegotiating new insurance contracts and whatnot, but that's, like, that, A, that's not our decision, and B, it's something that everybody's fighting.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I would be shocked if we ever saw a decrease in our insurance rates.
Right.
So, or at least a significant one.
Right.
So, okay, well, unless if there's any other questions or discussion,
Do we need a formal motion?
I believe I need is there a motion?
I will make a motion that we recommend to the full board approval of the 2018 interdepartmental agreement.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
And then I want to make a second motion that we recommend to the board that they approve the 2019 interdepartmental agreement.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so we will bring that to the board, and Laura, if you don't mind, I will defer to you for any,
Excellent.
and if there's questions on
Yes.
it, I definitely want you to be the one to respond, or Vic, one of the two of
I'm
you.
letting her talk.
And Jeff will not be able to make it to our board meeting this evening, so I'm happy to answer any questions if you're okay with that.
Okay, yeah, great. That works for me. So are there any other petitions or things that we need to discuss?
We have, yes, we have another item on the agenda, or at least there should have been.
I only have two.
Purchasing thresholds.
Purchasing
That was
thresholds.
the one we
It
just
should be an agenda item.
I don't have that, so
It's not on the agenda for the subcommittee?
for the subcommittee,
No.
can we
That's the originally published one. Did you send the new one? But if we have do we need an amendment to the agenda, or is it too late for that?
You can add an item. Is it on the regular committee?
It's on the regular board agenda, right?
No.
Nope. We can take it up in 2 weeks. Let's just do that.
Let's just do that.
But do we have to have another committee meeting? Do
I
we,
wanted this committee at least to discuss, since they are the finance subcommittee, it seems appropriate for them to discuss finance thresholds for purchasing.
are there materials that were,
Well, I sent, I don't know, we were supposed to have sent a single page in a memorandum to the board as a whole of those purchasing thresholds. Otherwise, we can do this again in 2 weeks.
And we can do it in 2 weeks.
Let's just do it in 2 weeks. We're not ready.
And it won't
Okay.
take 15 minutes. so-
Okay.
45.
4:45 for us?
Yeah.
Okay. So we will have another meeting of the finance
You know,
subcommittee.
The short summary of it, you may wish to just let the board take it up. The short summary is that the controller has changed the guidelines for purchasing thresholds for the various levels in the organization to match the state guidelines, as opposed to, we've been under lower guidelines that were established by the controller, and now they've changed their arrangement, so we're able to use the standard state guidelines. That's basically what they're doing. So we can talk about that in the subcommittee, or we can just take it to the board, whichever way you like.
As long as it's only
I don't
15.
feel like we have to have a committee if it's something that that works for me.
So you want to just do it, do you want to have a short?
Have it as a regular
Just do it.
item of the board,
Okay. That's what we'll do it.
So no subcommittee.
so no subcommittee. Okay.
See what's
Okay,
in there.
so if there aren't any other petitions or I can't even read here, communications, we will adjourn this meeting. Okay.